So a little background to this, had about 16 or 1700 miles on the Ranger. I was traveling down the highway like I have done several times, doing about 55 miles an hour, and all of a sudden I lost power. Felt like I blew a belt or something. I could rev, the engine just revved up, and no power to the wheels. So I thought at first maybe I blew a belt, and then I could hear some clicking coming from the rear end. So I thought, well, maybe it popped out of high gear and it's just kind of sitting in the middle there somewhere. So I was careful to pull over to the side of the road and come to a stop. And when I came to a stop, I shifted it back into park, back into high, and revved nothing. So put it in low, revved nothing. So I figured it was a belt. But by that time I looked back in the rearview mirror and I could see some smoke coming from the rear end. And so I got out to check it out, thought it just got a little hot maybe, but no. The inner CV joint was on fire in my right rear axle. So it was maintaining about a softball-sized ball of flame and coming up about 10, 12 inches or so. So I was able to put that out with a cup of water that I had in the Ranger and got it out, luckily with the last little splash of water, because there was nothing else around to put this fire out. So, but here's what the parts look like after it all cooled off and I took it all apart. So here is the left rear axle, some of the parts that came out of there. They look pretty decent. There is some damage to them if you look real close, but we don't need to really show you that too much. But that's what it should look like. I'm going to try to show you what the housing looks like inside. So shiny, you can see where it got hot in there, those black marks or colored marks. But for the most part, it's intact. So now I'll show you the one that started on fire. I think the reason it started on fire was probably sparks. I don't know how hot it would have to get for that grease just to spontaneously combust, but I don't think it got that hot. I think looking at the damage that was caused, I think that it's pretty believable that there could have been sparks that started it on fire. So that was the right rear inner CV housing, and here's what's left of the race, the outer part of the race. I'll show you the inner part. So it's supposed to be round. This one looks like it's shaped like a bolt, six-sided, and nothing smooth about the inside bearing pockets there. So got pretty hot and ground down in there pretty bad. So I'll show you the bearings. I'm missing one of the damaged ones somewhere, but they're not round. I have an actual, intact bearing there as comparison, but they're not round. These are all cleaned up, so all of this is metal. It's not debris or anything. They just really got ground up. And then here's the end of the axle shaft, including part of the CV boot that burned up. And then again, that's supposed to be smooth, shiny. The bearings glide in there. So that's what happens when an axle fails at high speed. So what I did was I replaced these with Super ATV's RHINO 2.0 axles. I think a big part of why this happened was the 3-inch lift that I have on there. It happens to be a high lifter bracket lift. I don't think the brand has anything to do with why these axles failed. When I put the bracket lift on, I expected to have some axle problems. That's pretty well known that if you flex the axles, the OEM axles beyond their intended range, that you're probably going to have some problems. They're going to fail eventually. I expected that. I didn't expect the fire. So it would have been a lot more simple if it would have just failed and I would have just been able to replace the axles. The fire didn't cause any additional damage, but because it was a fire and it was under warranty, Polaris had to do a safety investigation, which took a couple weeks, and I could go into that more if you have questions on that. Just put it in the comments below, but it all turned out okay. I didn't have them fix anything. Like I said, I replaced the axles with the aftermarket 2.0s, and they are really solid. They feel a lot heavier. They are intended to take a little bit more of the angle that you can get out of the lift. So, and then the warranty that Super ATV offers is very good. So lifetime warranty, the first 60 days they replace it for free, and then there is a small copay after that. But lifetime warranty on axles, I mean, it's just, I don't know of any other company that does that out there. So a couple things that I'm gonna do besides the new axles to try to prevent this problem in the future is I'm gonna take that bracket lift off, but I still want the added ground clearance. So in order to reduce the strain on the axles and just the drivetrain in general, and also to try to improve the ride a little bit, because with the 3-inch lift you do get a little bit of a harsher ride. It's nothing that would prevent me from doing a lift again. Most people may not even notice that, but I do think it has a little harsher ride with that lift. But I'm going to take that lift off, return everything to stock as far as the suspension, and then I'm going to go with Super ATV's GDP portals. So I've got those ready to install, and I have 32-inch tires, so I went with a 15% gear reduction in the portals. So that'll give me, basically it'll take me down to the equivalent of a 27-inch tire. So the machine is going to drive and respond, and the RPMs are going to be as if it has 27-inch tires on there. So really looking forward to that, looking to get some a little more pep out of it again. It did lose some with the 32-inch tires. It still has plenty of power, but looking forward to getting a little bit of that pep back and seeing how it performs and accelerates, and do some top speed comparisons, and it'll also get my speedometer back to more correct. Should be right on, because right now if I'm going 55 on the speedo, my GPS speed is actually about 67, 68, somewhere in there. So it's quite a bit off, but we'll see how this corrects it and see how this 15% gear reduction feels in this machine. So tune in for that. Thanks for watching.